Hello everybody and welcome to the Games I Love. Now, one of my favourite types of genres of board games is the abstract strategy game. There's so many different ones out there now and they all have their all different nuances and ideas and mechanisms that makes them unique from the others but gives the players a different challenge each time, and I really like that in that style of game. Today I've got a very small one to show you. It is called Codinca. Comes in this dinky little box here. There's this theme about you're these treasure hunters going into the Yucatan jungle and finding the ancient city of Codinca and trying to uncover these riddles, and basically this is a themeless abstract strategy game. You could have slapped on anything to this. It could have been the Moroccan patchwork markets or something like that, and it would have worked exactly the same way. But essentially what this game is you're trying to manipulate your coloured tiles to try and complete different patterns and combinations of cards that you've got in front of you. Let me get it down to the table, I'll show you how to play it, and then we'll come back up and I'll tell you why I love Codinca. So here we have the setup for Codinca for a two-player game, but the setup is going to be exactly the same whether it be 3 or 4 players. Each player is going to be dealt one of each of these 4 different setup cards. I'll just turn them over face up so you can see what they are. The goal of each player's game is they are trying to match the combination and colour of tiles with these 4 different cards that they have dealt out in front of them. So you have to get a diagonal, a straight line of 4, a square of 4, and 4 corners. And as you can see in this one I need 2 gold and 2 white in a 4 square situation, and it can be any combination, so it could be like that or like that, it doesn't really matter. The same with these, I could have been dealt all gold or 2 golds, 2 white. It all depends on what you've been dealt out. And the same with the 4 corners, it can be like that or like that. So long as you have that certain combination, and if you complete all 4, you win the game. Now, obviously these will be turned over face down like so. So, on a player's turn, they will first choose one of the 4 colours to play as, either purple, blue, red or green, and then on their turn they have 2 actions that they can do, and on that turn you can do 2 different things. You can either flip a tile onto its adjacent coloured side, so either white to gold or gold to white, or you can switch a tile over, so you can either say do this, so I can swap places. So if I was the red, I'd want to do that, or you could, say you could do this. So long as you swap an adjacent tile over with another one, you can do that, and you can do that in any combination of things. So for example, on my turn, I might decide to, I don't know, if I've got that, I can decide to swap and then flip. So that'll be my turn over, and then the next player will do their turn. Now, there's only one slight caveat to that. The next player cannot immediately undo the last action that you did. So if I was to flip this as my second action on my go, they wouldn't then be able to re-flip this tile over, but they might be able to undo the previous action, if you see what I mean. So if I did a flip and a switch, they wouldn't be able to switch, but they might be able to flip that one back over if needs be. Now, you're trying to do this in order to, as I say, complete these 4 combinations, and once you've completed one, you would flip it over face up to show that that one has been completed. Now, also, each player is dealt 3 of these, what they're called spirit cards, and you can use these as an additional action on your turn, and you can do that at any time as well, and you can use any combination of that. You can use all 3 of them in one turn if you want to, but I wouldn't suggest that, to be fair. But they give you 3 different things that you can do. On one side, you've got this. So you can either rotate a combination of 4 90 degrees clockwise. So for example, or 90 degrees or 100 degrees clockwise, should I say. So for example, if I was going to do this, I'd be able to, say, swap them over like so. Or you can move one tile from one end of a line onto the other end, and the others will shift along. So for example, I could take this, move all these 3 along, and place that one there. Now you can only choose one of the 2 on this side, and once you've done that, it's a one-time use that card is out of the game. On the other side, though, you've got trap cards, as they're called, and these can completely alter the combinations of the colours on the tiles. So, for example, if I was to choose this one, you'll see there's a little arrow on the top here, and you can choose which side of the tiles that you want to place it. So if I chose this one here, on this side, I would then match the colours with these tiles. So, for example, all these will get flipped over to gold, and these two down here as well. And then all these on these sides would be flipped over to white. These cards can greatly influence your the way that you can complete these combinations. So, for example, that one is a great way to do the four corners one if needs be, or should I say the four tile square. So yeah, and as I say, you can put it on any side that you want, but again, once you've used it, it's out of the game. So you only have 3 of these spirit or trap cards to use, and once you've done them, they're out of the game. As I said, once someone has completed all 4 of their different combination cards, they win the game. With the 4 corners, a little thing that people forget is they think it has to be all 4 the 4 most corners, but it doesn't have to be. You can do it in a 6x6 grid as well. So, for example, in this one, if, say, these 2 were swapped over and they were my colour, so actually let's do that. Let's just pop these like so. So I'll give you an example there. So there we go. If I was the reds, I would then have completed this card, and that would be one of my 4 completed. That is basically the game. Players are just going to take it in turns doing their 2 actions, either flipping, switching, using their trap cards or not. And once someone has completed all 4 of their cards, that player wins the game. So that's how you play Codinca. Let's get back up to the top and I'll show you why I love playing this game. So there you go, that is how you play Codinca. A pretty simple but quite thinky strategy game. Now, before we even get into this, the first thing that I love about this game is the little box that it comes in. It's just a really cool presentation. It has a little magnetic snap-on lid like that, and on the inside of the box it shows you the configuration of how to set up the tiles to set up and play the game. So that's one great thing about this. The other thing is the actual tiles themselves. I mean, these are nice, chunky, colourful tiles. They feel really good in your hand, and they pop out on the table as well. Now, if you are colourblind, then it doesn't matter because every colour has different symbols on them anyway, so that is a neat little touch. Now, I will say that this game is definitely better as a 2-player game. There's definitely a lot more strategy involved with 2 players. At higher player counts, it does get a lot more hectic, especially with 4 players, so your move might be completely negated by the time it gets round to you next time. So, in a way, you do have to think 2, 3, maybe even 4 steps ahead in order to try and complete those patterns that you have out in front of you. Naturally, you do have your trap cards that you can use to your advantage, but don't forget they're only one-time uses, so you have to plan accordingly when you want to use them. But I just love how thinky it is, but also how quick it plays as well. I mean, games barely last longer than 30 minutes with this, and the fact that it comes in such a tiny presentation as well, it's easy to bring around to a friend's house and say, do you want a quick game of Codinca? Yeah, let's go out and do it. Now, of course, like every game, there are little minor gripes that I do have with it. I do feel that they could have gone with a little different colour scheme other than white and gold, because under certain lighting circumstances, they do look very similar. So they could have easily done, I don't know, like a red and a white or something different to that. That's basically it. That's the only minor gripe I have with this game. It's just a fun, interesting, thinky but quick abstract strategy game that a lot of people will love, and the price tag for this game is pretty low as well, so do yourself a favour, and if you've never played it before, go out and purchase a copy of Codinca. You definitely won't be disappointed. And so there we go, another episode of the Games I Love. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and I'll be back soon with another game that I most certainly do love playing. Until then, see you next time.